Today we're talking about probing. Do you think it's right to go through your significant other's belongings? Let's talk. Do you think that it's right for someone to go in your personal belongings? Well, um, of course, everybody has their own view of what they feel like, how they feel like that should go. There are several pros and cons of why you should or should not go through your significant other's possessions, whether it's their phone or their laptop or any devices, their wallet, their pocket. Well, sometimes when if you're a real woman, you wash your husband's clothes. Okay, I'm just saying. So, men, make sure your pants pockets are clean. That's all I got to say. Just make sure your pants pocket is clean. So anyway, let me name the reasons why we shouldn't. Some of the reasons that I wrote down why we shouldn't go through our significant other's possessions, and it's actually for our benefit versus anything else. And the first thing that it does to a person when you go through their possessions is break their trust. It breaks the trust of the person who's it actually breaks trust altogether in the relationship. There is another side to that, because usually, and let me first say this for all my ladies that's out there waiting to hear what I'm going to say. I'm guilty. I'm guilty of going through my significant others, well, at the time my husband. I'm guilty of going through his possessions. I went through them because I felt like there was something going on. So to be honest with you, I wrote that down about trust, but I didn't trust him initially, which is why I went through the items. Wasn't right. It was totally wrong. And it makes, the other thing that it does, it makes us as people whoever went through the possession, it makes us untrustworthy. Because if we're probing, then it's like, what are we doing? Why are we snooping? The one thing I can say, and I'm all over the place, I'm just going to let it come out how it comes. One thing I do know, if we're looking for something, if you look for something, it's usually because you're looking for a way out of something. Or you need a reason to do what it is that you want to do. You need a way out because you're hurt, but you don't know how to leave the relationship. Or is that you are, if you feel like if you expose that person, that they'll correct it and y'all can move on and go forward and be good. Because as long as they don't think then they'll continue to do what it is that they're doing. And sometimes if you find out, they'll still continue. They'll still do what they want to do. So either way it go, we have a hard time adjusting to that. It says more about your character whenever you go through someone's possessions. It can deem you as being sneaky, conniving, deceitful, because in order to catch somebody in something, you have to understand it. So you have to have that same thing kind of in you that will allow you to see somebody else's stuff. Like I said, I'm guilty. We all know how to cheat, and we all know how to steal. Regardless of we act on it or not, we all know how to. And I say that because whenever we're little kids, we know that sippy cup is not ours. We know what our sippy cup look like. But you know what we would do? We'll go right over there, because we already drank all of our juice out of our sippy cup, and pick up the other kid's sippy cup. And we'll do it when they're not looking. Who just joined? Hi, I think that's Keisha. And I think someone else is on here too. I didn't see. But hey, thanks for always tuning in. I love you for that. Give me some hearts now. So, we knew that as a child not to do that. We knew that, but we did it anyway, and we did it when the other kid wasn't looking because we knew we were that was a learned behavior, and we learned. Invite friends to follow as well if you're on here. Invite followers rather. So we did it. We did it knowing it. So we learned how to do that. If we had saw a crayon or something that we wanted in elementary school, we would wait. We would see it on the floor, know that it didn't belong to us, but we didn't find out who it belonged to. We took it and put it in our little desk. So we learned at an early age how to be deceitful in a way, because that's something that comes, sin. We're born into sin, and we have to learn not to sin. We have to decide not to sin and do those things. So we have it in us. So we can act innocent all we want to. Ladies, we can act innocent all we want to. We probe for a reason. But the only way for us to be able to know how to do that stuff is because we first thought about doing it ourselves in some way or another. Or we figured out how to do it. So either way it go, neither party is right when it comes down to if he's or she's cheating, then the person that's probing, he or she that's probing, is just as guilty as the person that's cheating, because if we're looking for something, surely we're going to find it. Another thing is everyone deserves privacy. Everybody deserves privacy. Privacy doesn't mean withhold things from the person that you're in a relationship with. Privacy, it's like you have to put it in context of using the restroom. That's something that happens that's something that is private. You don't want somebody in there, seeing what, this is getting a little gross, but seeing what your tissue looks like. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to see that. That's just disgusting. So that's privacy. It's the same thing. There are things that we do as people that only us and God should know about. It's only things that we do that we only want God to know. And other people's eyes shouldn't be privileged to that. However, we as people in human nature, we want to control environments. We want to control people. We wind up doing it ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So we as people have to not do that. Okay? And another thing is that it's downhill. If you do it, and the trust is broken, and there's this rift between you and your significant other, you go downhill from there. Nothing. It almost never gets back to that place, because the person who snooped and found something is going to be the person that continue to think that, I wonder what he or she doing now. I wonder if they're doing something now. Other thing would be is, now the person that you snooped on is wondering, I wonder if they're going through my stuff now. So it's like a constant looking over your shoulder, and it just creates an environment of distrust. And the thing that's going to trump it all is that you talk. You have to discuss what the issue is. You have to really discuss what the problem is. And one way of doing that is, if there's something that's going on in your relationship hey, Smile Bright, thank you for joining. If there's something that's going on within your relationship that you are considering to be, distrusting between you and your significant other, if there's something going on, then instead of bringing in other elements, like, for example, and I'm just gonna be honest, because this is real talk, if the sex is, if you're in a marriage and the sex is not what it needs to be, or it's not satisfying to you, or you're displeased in some way, you have to be honest with the person that you're in a relationship with enough to say, listen, we need to try this. We need to try something different. We need to try that or the other. Sometimes it helps. And sometimes if they're set in their ways, they're not going to try anything different. And if it's to the point where it's not um, where if it's to the point where that it's not pleasing to you to the degree that you feel like you're gonna do something, then you need to consider getting out of that relationship. And that seems so hard to do with people, but to be honest with you, bringing somebody else in should be harder than you leaving, because you stay and you bring somebody else in the relationship, and you know you get caught up cheating or whatever, it's gonna make things a lot more difficult um to have peace within the relationship. So you're gonna be in the relationship with a bunch of turmoil and hell. And who wants to live like that? When all you can do is go forth and find the person that it is that makes you happy. Sometimes it's that we were pleased at one stage of our lives, and then we stay together, and that's become boring. It's become mundane, and you want something new and exciting and fresh. But that's where we as people have to become creative and not be so self-centered that we forget about the person that we're in a relationship with. Meaning, and I said this on my first Periscope, is first to never stop dating. You have
A wise person once told me
the person that you're in a relationship with. Never get comfortable with them. You know, one thing, and this is out of experience, and I'll share this with some of my ladies. One thing that I did when I was married, as a wife, was I always surprised, you know, my husband. So sometimes he would get off work and, you know, he would come home and the kids would be gone. And I got dinner cooked and, you know, candlelight dinner and, you know, all that stuff like that. And he, you know, he didn't expect that. He getting off work, he like, what the heck is going on? You know, what is this about? Don't worry about it. You know, and then you do but you always have to think of, I personally, as a woman, think that, you know, I become another character. You know, I always switch up the game. You know, don't be the same. Be different. And you have to keep everything spicy, if you're allowed to. Some situations you can do that, and he don't come home. He don't show up. You know, you can do all this stuff, and then that lets you know that he's not worth that part of you. He doesn't deserve that part of you. Or, you know, or if it's him, he's always sending her flowers and romancing her and, you know, doing things to surprise her. You know, he should be rewarded for that. Greatly rewarded for that. And if you don't, you know, and she doesn't appreciate it, you know, don't let the dust settle. Pick your things up and get it moving. Thank you, Smile Bright. I believe that's you giving me them hearts. Love you for that. So a lot of times we just have to think about what it's gonna do. If you break the trust, then it's gonna be broken. Trust is something that's almost next to time. How I know? Oh, I don't know. That's my favorite color too. I don't know how I knew that was you. I saw you chime in, but I didn't know if that was you giving me them hearts. But thank you. So I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I know, but one thing I do know is that if you break it, it's almost like I said, next to time. It's next to time. If you break trust, you can't. It's so hard to get back that it almost seems impossible to get back. So I think that we should consider not snooping. You know, and I've learned this. This is something that I've learned, and I'm gonna stick with it for the rest of my days. And I learned this. I'd rather not know. I'd rather not know. And people say, no, I need to know. I need to know. We already know. You already know when something's going on. You know it. The extent of what you see, though, could hurt you to such a deep level that you can't bounce back from it. So I would suggest not digging. You already know. And make whatever adjustments you need to make on your end to correct. I mean, real fine. He gonna be like, wait a minute, where you going? What you finna do? You know, if it's her, get you a different cologne. Let your downwind, as my hollers would say, let them catch a downwind. She gonna be like, now that don't smell the same. Now let me start wearing that fragrance. You know what I'm saying? Do something different to get their attention. But you have to be consistent in that. You gotta do that all the time. You can't just, do it 1 week here and then wait 3 months and do something else and just go with the everyday routine. Never stop dating the person that you're in a relationship with. That's gonna be the biggest thing. And and we as women, Lord have mercy, Jesus. Remember to tune in every Friday